Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the gallery, councillors and staff. This evening we have General Manager Ken Ross, who will answer any planning related questions as well. I have Director Rule here, Corporate Services, and Director Gunn from Roads and Engineering. Welcome to the ordinary meeting of Council for August. In opening the meeting, I'll ask the General Manager to please make announcements regarding live streaming of this evening's meeting.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The meeting is being live streamed and or recorded for on-demand viewing via Council's website. Attendance at the meeting is to be taken as consent by a person to have their image and or voice being webcast. All speakers should refrain from making any defamatory comments or releasing personal information about another individual without their consent. Council accepts no liability for any damage that may result from the defamatory comments made by persons attending meetings. All liability will rest with the individual who made the comments. The meeting must not be recorded by others without prior written consent of the Council in accordance with the Council's Code of Meeting Practice. Councillors and staff are obligated to declare conflicts of interest as required under the Local Government Act 1993 and Council's adopted Code of Conduct. Councillors are reminded of their oath of office whereby they have declared and affirmed and they will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Wentworth Shire and the Wentworth Shire Council, and they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Those who are able, could you please stand for the acknowledgement of country and the prayer? We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we live and work and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Please bless us with the courage to work together as a united, supportive and resilient team, bound by a shared sense of purpose and a commitment to excellence. May our teamwork reflect your boundless love, grace and wisdom. Help us to communicate openly, listen attentively and value each other's perspectives. Thank you. Now, before we get into the business this evening, I know this was done more formally at the last meeting and I'm very grateful for that, but I do just want to put on record the profound sadness for me personally and for this council and the community, the passing of former councillor Tim Elstone on the 1st of July. And Tim was a great mate, a great man, and personally a mentor to me, so I'll miss him. I just wanted to put on record our ongoing support for Tim's family, for Alan, Luke, Daniel, Sarah, Lockie, and their extended families. So that resulted in a vacancy on council, and that countback election has been concluded, and I'm very pleased to announce that Councillor Brian Beaumont, who was sworn in the 18th of August, is now with us, and I extend a very warm welcome to you, Brian. And I know you've actually, since the last election, attended most, if not all, meetings, so you've continued to take a very keen interest in the dealings and workings of Wentworth Shire Council. So welcome aboard and look forward to, on behalf of all of your colleagues, working with you for the next term.
Could I just respond briefly? Look, it's an unfortunate set of circumstances that has led to the necessity to fill, I think, what they call a casual vacancy. As the incoming councillor, I feel compelled to just acknowledge the contribution of Tim Elstone, to the contribution to the various communities within the Shire, his advocacy for the Shire and his uncompromising dedication to our communities and the Shire as a whole. His knowledge and experience will be greatly missed, and I also would like to pass on my sincere condolences to the Elstone family. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. And before I go any further, I should also just thank Councillor Crisp, who took care of things in my absence and apparently conducted the last council meeting in just under an hour. And so actually everybody's asking, could you stay on and chair the meetings? But I pass. I'll do my best. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, apologies and applications for leave. Are there any applications for leave? Nil. Are there any disclosures of interest? Item 4. Councillor Nichols.
Yes, Mr Mayor, on 9.8, I believe I have a non-pecuniary interest. I'm a playing right member of the bowling club who may work in a voluntary member at competitions. However, I believe that our people outside in the community may believe I'll favour the bowling club over others because of my affiliation with that club.
Thank you. Councillor Beaumont.
Okay, also on 9.8, I have a non-pecuniary interest in the Wentworth District Community Medical Centre, so a non-pecuniary, so I'll step out for that one.
Thank you. Councillor Beaumont.
And in addition, item 9.3, and before I knew of the vacancy and re-election, I was involved in providing, 9.8 that should be, was providing some advice to the Danton Community Youth Centre in relation to their submission for financial assistance. So I'll step out of that one as well.
Okay, 9.3 and 9.8. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Starrick.
I have a non-pecuniary less than significant interest in item 9.8. I have a personal friend who's one of the directors of one of the organisations that has applied MASP. But I believe that won't impact my ability to continue, so I'll stay in.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Armstrong.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I have a 9.10. My interest is non-pecuniary and less than significant in that my employer is a supplier to the proponent, not for the winery, but for the viticulture side of the business. But I tend to stay in.
9.10. Thank you. Okay, is that all? Thanks, everybody. We'll move to item 5. Would someone like to move confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting, please? Councillor Nichols. Councillor Evans has seconded. Any questions or discussion? I'll move those in favour of accepting the minutes. Those against? Carried. Okay. Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move that the ordinary meeting be adjourned for the purpose of conducting a public forum.
Thank you, Councillor Crisp. Is that motion seconded? Councillor Weeding. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. All right. We are going to conduct a public forum. We have a number of speakers. We have a speaker in favour of item 9.3, and I have 3 speakers in favour of refusal in item 9.10. So each speaker will have 3 minutes as per the meeting code, and I would like to first call Mrs. Glenys Beaumont to speak in favour of item 9.3. And Glenys, if you'd like to address us from the front of the room, that would be fine.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr Mayor, and to councillors. I've outlined the journey of our local charity Wentworth District Community Medical Centre in the paper that's been provided to you today. It is a journey that's taken place over the last 6 years. The community-owned medical centre is now in its 2nd year of providing health and related services to our local community. And with our 2nd doctor about to start, we're now progressing to stage 2 of our 3-stage project. Our progress reflects strong community support and their desire to have a range of services available and accessible locally. And our progress challenges the oft-held belief that attracting doctors to work in the rural sector is not impossible. It also challenges the acceptance of individuals' postcode dictating their health outcomes. Across the last 2 decades, the New South Wales health data has shown Wentworth LGA to have worse health statistics than the rest of New South Wales in around 15 conditions, including cardiac, respiratory, gastrointestinal, cancers, mental health, self-harm, and potentially avoidable deaths in the under 75s. My entire working life has been in rural health, and I know that these are unacceptable in a first world country. I also know that it reflects a long period of interrupted and often inadequate local health services. So our annual fundraising obviously supports the work of the Wentworth District Community Medical Centre and our community-owned facility, and it's critical to our fundraising to have an auction and a dinner each year. We raise about $15,000 that goes towards our aspirations. This year we'd like to promote not only our charity but also Wentworth Shire Council and the magnificent Wentworth Civic Centre, and we'd love to hold an event in the upstairs function space. So I respectfully ask the council give this request some strong consideration tonight. Open to questions.
Thank you, Glenys. Yes. Does any councillor have a question for Glenys? Sign of a very good speech.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Glenys. Okay, our next speaker will be speaking in favour of item 9.10. Could I ask Simon Dorotich, please?
So I've spoken to more than a dozen nearby residents in my area, and nearly everybody has the same concerns with the existing facility. So expansion, we believe, would only increase a lot of those concerns. Number one for everybody is odour. A lot of people are already familiar with winemaking. Some of the people I speak to are winemakers. We know what that smells like. This facility doesn't smell like that. It's got a very strong smell. A lot of people stay inside during those times, which is quite unfair to residents to not be able to leave their own house. Number two, risk to the environment. So the current waste water, there's no actual facility to process it. They just dump it onto the ground, and that's on the floodplain. So the proposed wastewater treatment is on the same location in the floodplain, and it says that the treated wastewater would go onto loosened crops next to the facility, the wastewater processing facility. That area is also in a floodplain, so if there was a flood, you couldn't process the wastewater, which means they'd have to stop, because the only contingency in the DA states that during a flood they would apply to the EPA for a permit to discharge treated water to floodwaters. We think it's unlikely they would stop because they've already demonstrated they'll crush without permission. They built the initial crushing facility without council permission, as you would know. They crushed the 2017-2018 season. It was only during 2018 did they get permission for that grape crushing facility. Another environmental concern is grape mark. That'd be also on the river floodplain. They'd have to move it. The contingency states it would be removed prior to the arrival of floodwaters. I can tell you during the 2022-23 flood that on that same site, hundreds of thousands of dollars of their vines was destroyed by that flood. So if they couldn't protect vine assets, how do you expect them to move waste, protect their waste? So that's the environmental concerns. There's a fire risk. April 2018, the grape mark stored on their property combusted. It was attended by the Deer and Fire Brigade. The new proposed site on three sides is Crown Reserve, so it's bushland. Opposite the road is also bushland, and it could easily spread through to neighbouring properties and shed if the mark combusted there. Number four, dust. There's a makeshift track beside the road. It's next to the fence, and it creates a lot of dust. It's not possible to water it because it's floodplain. It's clay. 3 mil of water and it'd be boggy. It's so much dust that sometimes river roads you can't view through the dust, and it's a 100 zone. So people are coming over a crest at 100 into blindness. And not only that, but the properties along River Road next to it, they say during those dusty periods they can't hang out their washing to dry. Like everything outside their house is covered in dust. And I'd also have a question about I'd question the classification with the Environmental Planning and Assessment Regulation states that a development is classified as regionally significant if the waste management facility comprises more than 1,000 tonnes per year of effluent, or if it's on a floodplain. Both are true.
Thank you, Simon. Councillors, any questions for Mr. Dorridge? Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker, speaking in favour of the recommendation in item 9.10, is Mr. Brian Ferry. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. As stated, I'm Brian Ferry. I live at Block 353, Baronia Crescent, Cumiella, which is a returned soldier settler block allocated to my father after the Second World War. It was cleared and developed by my parents. We purchased the property from them some 45 years ago. 25 years ago, we built a new home on the property. We developed a large garden, creating a peaceful sanctuary to live in. We now live on the edge of a smelly, noisy industrial complex. We object to the proposal to extend the existing winery facility because of the terrible foul smell and the chaotic traffic conditions emanating from the current 30,000 tonne winery. An increase of 266% to 80,000 tonnes is untenable. We thank the council for refusing this extension application, and we welcome rigorous monitoring of these environmental and traffic issues by the council and the EPA. I believe that the people that live in this area should have the same rights as everyone else in the council area, and ours have been taken from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferry. Any questions for Brian? Thank you very much. And our final speaker, also speaking in favour of the motion in 910, is Mr. Howard Ferry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, councillors, for accepting my request to speak this evening. My name is Howard Ferry, and I reside at 512 Sea River Road, approximately 1 kilometre south of winemaking operations at 623 River Road. Councillors, on the 20th of November the 20th, 2024, I submitted an objection letter on behalf of my wife and myself against the development application 2024/134. I raised concerns about the possible potential adverse effects on the vicinity, specifically regarding odour, environmental impact, traffic and fire hazards. I want to emphasise the odour issue tonight. In its current form, we are experiencing severe periods throughout the year when we cannot enjoy our outdoor area because of the smell is so potent. We cannot imagine how more than doubling the winemaking operations would not severely impact our residents. The application report repeatedly stated that the effects generated by the proposal would be minor. Our lived experience strongly contradicts this claim. Despite all of this, I'm pleased the council's planning officers have recommended refusing the application and fully support this recommendation. It is my hope that the council will adhere to this recommendation and refuse the application. Thank you for taking time to listen to me.
Thank you, Howard. Any questions for Howard? Thank you very much. All right, that concludes this evening's public forum. Councillor Crispin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the council meeting be reconvened.
Seconder, please. Councillor Weeding. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. All right, we'll move to item 6, outstanding matters from previous meetings. There are none. We'll move to item 7, and I move my mayoral report. Seconded, Councillor Beaumont. Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Just mention, a couple of things. Really pleasing to see the Dr. Jules Zerner Centre open. And I believe one of the first people that are going to be using it, not from our shire, but from New South Wales. I think it'll be a patient from Broken Hill. So I think that just speaks to the benefit of the support that centre's received from councils and other institutions, including the club, from New South Wales, because I think we understand that that centre is going to be marvellous in alleviating some of the pain and difficulty in receiving treatment at the Icon Centre, and should encourage people in our remote parts of the Shire to actually get treatment. The statistics say that for every 100 kilometres away from a centre, there's a drop-off of 10% of people who will actually seek treatment. So I think it was an important investment by this council to support that project. Wonderful to see it open. I'll just mention the Murray-Darling Association Region 4 meeting that we had last week was really interesting as a prelude into the MDA conference, which will be happening next month in Griffith. There's a real push to start taking this carp issue, that just overwhelming biomass of carp in the river system, seriously, and pushing for the use of eradication methods, which may include the carp virus. So it's a very interesting space at the moment, but pleased to say we've got experiencing very good, beautiful water quality here at Wentworth in the Lower Darling at the moment. I think Councillor Evans and Weeding may have more to say on water issues after this, but no, just good to see some progress there. I'll leave it at that unless there's any further questions.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Could you just expand a little bit on the Trail of Lights and FOSO briefing? I'm probably particularly interested in the Trail of Lights and how that enterprise is going.
Yeah, so I actually missed that, so I might handball that to one of the officers. Other than to say that obviously our work will commence very soon on the FOSO site here at Wentworth, and really looking forward to being able to promote that and have that complementary attraction to Trail of Lights, which will then achieve the original purpose, which is to have increased tourism and that extra night stay to be able to visit both sites. But perhaps Simon or Ken, if you want to comment on that.
Sorry, Councillor Beaumont, you said Trail of Lights. You're more interested in the operation of what's happening.
I'm just wondering how it's going generally for Mildura, and in terms of increased visitations, night stays, that sort of thing, and I guess overall patronage.
Yeah, so look, notwithstanding we're obviously in the cooler months, for an evening outdoor attraction, my understanding from the latest information that was presented is that they are hitting their target band of visitors. It might be at the lower end of the target band, but they're hitting their straps. And I don't know that I haven't seen any data in terms of its contribution to bed stays. But look, I think that's where the sooner we can get our project constructed and operational, it will have the complete picture then to really get people here. And obviously moving into the warmer months, you would expect those ticket sales to increase. Alrighty. All those in favour of accepting that report? Thank you, that is carried. Item 7.2, which is committee reports. We have here a River Reflections Conference at Murray Bridge, attended by Councillor Weeding and Councillor Evans. I'll ask for a mover to accept that report, please. Councillor Weeding, seconded Councillor Evans. And would either of you gentlemen like to speak to the contents of this? Councillor Evans.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak to Councillor Weeding's report. Councillor Weeding and myself visited Murray Bridge on the 29th and 30th of July, and the MDBA held a conference updating the coming health review of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, and so it was quite interesting to be a part of that. Also, the Basin Plan, of course, has been in train for some 13 years now, And the improvements in basin health were highlighted. There's certainly some major improvements they're seeing, and I guess we can say that's attributable to the extra water available to use within the basin, particularly for environmental purposes. Also, not disregarding the most important, of course, is that we have a lot of effort now in reducing consumptive use, even through irrigation. It's been an amazing time for regenerating infrastructure within the basin to save on water. Through improved water management practices and the more controversial buyback arrangements, these have made it possible for that amount of environmental water available for times that obviously the river needs it, and it is controversial, but I think we need to keep that in mind, that the river does need water. We've had some dry times, and certainly extremely dry times. So the basin's health card was certainly dampened by the report on water quality. So I think we start to focus on perhaps the red flags in that report, and also the diminishing native fish populations is a real concern. Since the 22-23 flood event, there has been an increase in invasive fish, that is carp. We also have other varieties which have certainly popped up, particularly after this flood. We saw the Chinese weather loach in huge numbers, and they laid in the mud after the flood went down and the water went down. So what we have now is probably a biomass of carp particularly, which are overwhelming. And I think this has come from the science that we saw picked up through the information through the conference that we see now. I think it's quite alarming, actually, and I think the Murray-Darling Basin Authority are starting to really see that we need to get to a point of focusing on water quality, and invasive species being one of our major problems in water quality. The fisheries, the biomass now has probably exponentially changed and developed to the point where we've crossed a point in time where we're not going to change, without lowering the number of carp, we're not going to change the water quality. In fact, a couple of the alarming statistics we saw were that we're seeing different varieties of algal blooms within the Murray-Darling, particularly in the southern reaches, which they haven't been seen in this region before. We do have science that checks those algal blooms, also gives us warnings on those blooms and when they happen. But we've seen algal blooms through summer, winter, and all year round over the last period of time, particularly since the flood and before. But it's starting to be highlighted now after the flood, which is a great concern to the scientists. And I might say there was a level of panic about it. So much so, Councillor Weeding and I sat at the table with a lady who is employed by the federal government agricultural department, who is in charge of the biocontrol program, and that is, of course, the carp virus, which they intend and have pretty much spent 12 years looking at and finding, although it's a very controversial thing to bring a biological control into our environment, we know that the herpes virus that affects the carp is in 30 countries in the world. There's every chance that it'll beat us to our river, rather than us taking control. So I think the important thing now is we have to really consider it as being something that needs to happen if we don't get those carp under control. And I'm just touching on another meeting that I had in Menindee on Friday with executives from all states of the basin, and they were looking at the Menindee lakes and the operation of the lakes, and I gave a small talk on some of the these issues, these particular issues. Fisheries were there, and they're looking at having a quantity of water and a certain flow of water in the river system, which they will utilise to pinpoint and to take this virus into very specific areas. The efficacy, of the virus now is looking around about 40%. So they're saying it's fairly controllable in that environment. We're concerned about the biomass dying very quickly. Carp have to actually come together to spread the virus, so they need to rub the fish have to run by each other to spread it. So it's something it's going to be a little bit more controllable than we probably initially thought. But the danger is, of course, it may enter Australia as Khaleesi did with the rabbits, and we're in a period of time now where I don't think the river's got all that long to. We need to get going. And Mr. Mayor, I think your words said it, that we need to activate on that. I know it's up for ministerial approval. Could take 2 years. Is that quick enough? I don't know. But we have good quality water at the moment. I was in India, they're releasing water down. But if we go back into a dry cycle, we're going to be in serious trouble again. So that's an overview of the report we got there on the health of the river. And I think hopefully a bit of information there that helps.
No, thanks, Councillor Evans. Thanks for attending the Basin Officials Committee meeting in Menindee as well last Friday. And look, I think it's a good time to raise this because we're going to be talking more about it. I think it's got to the point, such is the overwhelming percentage of the biomass being carp, that if we want to see a restoration of native species, it cannot happen until there's some sort of control. Any questions for Councillor Evans? All those in favour of accepting the
I'd just like to make a comment first,
Councillor Weedon.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the basin's a big place, obviously, and we're only a little part of the basin. There was a lot of talk in water buybacks and things like that for floodplains, and that seems to be doing a lot of good with birds. Fish, not so much, but definitely bird life. And yeah, like Greg said, the carp is the biggest problem down here. We seem to be getting good flows, but the water quality is not as good as what they'd like it to be, and they don't know why. So there's more work going on in that area.
Thank you. Yeah, look, water is certainly good. Buybacks, not everybody agrees is the answer, but thank you very much. And I'm glad you're able to get to that conference as well.
Just a comment. I think I mentioned this in regard to the algal bloom in South Australia, the coastal areas, and they did some advertising there, which they applied some blame on the Murray River flow during the flood with nutrient inflow into the sea. And it was interesting at the conference, one of the points made is there is no science and there is no investigation into nutrient content of Murray River water. So this will be another, I guess, it seemed a bit strange. They were blaming the Murray River for causing some of that problem, and yet there is no science to
they need, under the circumstances, they need to blame somebody, don't they? But
yeah,
but you make a good point. You can't manage what you can't measure. So
yes.
Regardless of what's happening in the ocean in South Australia, we should be looking for better monitoring of our water quality. We move all those in favour of accepting that report. Thank you. That's carried. We'll move to item 8, reports from committees. There are none. Item 9, reports to council. Someone like to move item 9.1, the General Manager's report? Councillor Starrick, seconded Councillor Armstrong. Any level of discussion or questions? Those in favour of accepting the report? Those against? That's carried. Thank you. Item 9.2, Union Picnic Day. We have a recommendation moved by Councillor Armstrong.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move the recommendation as written.
As written, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Crisp. Does anybody wish to speak for the motion? Does anyone wish to speak against? All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Item 9.3, availability of the Wentworth Visitor Centre Conference Room. I'll thank you, Councillor Beaumont. I'll wait a few seconds.
Just hit the green button on your way up.
Okay, thank you. We have a recommendation. If someone would like to move, Councillor Nichols, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Weaving.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, just before we move the recommendation, it will need to be amended as to what's written because it needs, we have to decide whether the fee is charged or not.
So
Yes, I'll just
before we move
22
it,
seconds,
I'd like to,
and I'll ask for somebody to move a motion.
I'd move the motion that the council make the visitor centre available to this as a charity free of charge. No cost.
Okay, so
And then move the recommendation as part of it.
we'll just move the recommendation as printed, Gail, but clarify the issue around fees. Okay, so Councillor Nichols has moved the motion with the clarification that fees not be charged. Would someone like to second that? Councillor Weed. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. I can see you, Councillor Rodder. The motion is carried. Right, I'll just wait for Councillor Beaumont to return, and then we will deal with item 9.4, the monthly finance report for July. Yeah. Better be quick. I thought there was an ad break as well.
push it on the button.
Oh no.
Thank you. Welcome back, Councillor Beaumont. We're just going to deal with item 9.4, the monthly finance report for July. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor Starrick, seconded Councillor Armstrong. Any level of discussion required? Councillor, no. I'll put the motion. Those in favour of accepting the report? That is carried. Thank you. Item 9.5, the monthly investment report for July. Could I have a mover? Councillor Crisp, seconded Councillor Armstrong. Does anybody have any questions? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Sorry, did you have a question?
I was going to ask for a point of clarity. The day-to-day liquidity of 1.6, that's available cash, is it, for cover wages, salaries, etc. On a month-to-month basis, correct? Yep. So, how many months would that cover?
Probably about a month.
About a month.
Thank you, Director. Okay, I'll put the motion. Those in favour of accepting the report? Thank you, that's carried. Item 9.6, the June quarterly budget review. And we have a recommendation for noting. Would someone like to move that motion? Councillor Crisp, Councillor Seconder, Councillor Evans. Does anyone wish to speak for the motion?
Yes, I'd ask a question.
Yes, question from Councillor Nichols.
Could I ask, please, what major projects compliance works are required in this building? I'm on page 81, but I've read through things. So there's, do we have any major compliance things have to happen in this building?
Neil,
Neil?
I think we have lifts serviced and we have the fire services checked that there's no.
Nothing major happened.
Engines disposed of.
Just a question.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Nichols. Does anybody else have a question? Okay, I'll move that we accept the report. Those in favour? Sorry, I'm asking for those in favour, it's already been moved. Thank you. Those against? That is carried. Item 9.7, the quarterly operational plan progress report. Would someone like to move that we accept this report and note it? Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Are there any questions? And just shout at me, Councillor, if I don't see your arm waving. Okay, with no questions, I'll move that the report be, those in favour of accepting the report? Those against? That is carried. Right, item 9.8, if anybody needs to leave, we'll wait a moment. Councillor Nichols, Councillor Beaumont. Right, I will invite somebody to move a motion. Councillor Armstrong.
Mr Mayor, I would move that Council, having considered the current request for financial assistance, I would recommend that we grant financial assistance as listed in the table on page 163 to those applications.
Seconded, Councillor Crisp, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Does anyone wish to speak against? Does anybody have a question?
Perhaps a comment that these are significant local organisations that work hard to maintain the fabric of our community.
Thanks, Councillor Crisp. Any other statements? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? That is carried unanimously. Thank you. Well, it's carried. By those in the room. Thank you, Councillor Nichols, Councillor Beaumont. Item 9.9, Delegated Authority Report, and thank you very much for the inclusion of this report. Would someone like to move that we note that? Councillor Armstrong, seconded Councillor Crisp. Any level of discussion?
Only to echo your words, Mr Mayor, thank you to the General Manager and the staff for providing just this info for us to be educated on. So
thank you.
Thank you for that inclusion in the agenda.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Okay, item 9.10, extension to existing rural industry at the Jindalee Road, Kumiella. And we have a recommendation. Would someone like to move a motion, please? Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move that Council determines DA 2024/134, the extension to an existing rural industry 623 River Road, lot 989, DP 756961 and 28 Jindalee Road, Kumiella, be refused for the following reasons. the required concurrence provided as a refusal, and importantly, in my view, B, Council as consent authority cannot approve a development without concurrence from an approval body under clause 4.474 of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Crisp has moved the recommendation as printed. Is that seconded? Councillor Beaumont. Would anyone like to speak for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I'll be brief as to the recommendation here and why it is clear. It would be unwise of a council to ignore the advice of the EPA that's been provided, and that advice, broadly, in my view, supports the comments that have been made by those who spoke earlier. That this is a major development, and it does have issues. The EPA are the body to deal with those issues, not council. So what's at work here is by refusing, this goes back to sit on the EPA's desk and not ours, and that's where the nature of the issues that are there are for the EPA to manage. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Crisp. Would anybody like to speak against the motion? Any further speakers for the motion?
I could just make a comment.
Councillor Evans.
The question would be, from here on, is does the EPA, I guess, have an open book on this? Is this going to remain open to address some of the issues which obviously still are there for local residents? And from the comments we've heard today, I guess I can make that as a comment that perhaps this will bring to light some of those issues, and perhaps it's certainly nothing we can really do, but perhaps hopefully the book remains open to the EPA to make amendments to their operation that will make it a far better environment for people in that area.
Thanks, Councillor Evans. Councillor Crisp has indicated he'd be happy to respond to that question.
Thank you. I draw Council's attention to some of the information we've received under a separate cover, and I'll quote that the EPA consider that grape mark stockpiles should be considered further in the assessment to ensure that odour elimination from the source is accurate and that the odour control measures are sufficient. So I think the EPA are the experts in this, and having read their report under a separate cover, they're all over this.
Thanks, Councillor Crisp. Councillor Beaumont.
I mean, that's all well documented within the report, but the other thing is the EPA make it quite clear that this is an integrated development, and that it requires concurrence between EPA and the Shire in order to be able to approve such a development. And the EPA are not backing this, so therefore I believe we can't.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, is there any further statements on this matter? I'm going to put the motion, and as this is a planning matter, I'll remind councillors that each vote for and against will be recorded as a division. Those in favour of the recommendation? Those against? Carried unanimously. Item 9.11. Project and Works Report for August 2025. Would someone like to move that we receive the report? Councillor Starrick, seconded Councillor Weeding. Any level of questions or discussion? Councillor Armstrong.
Mr. Mayor, sorry, just a question to Director Gunn. Just on the maintenance grading, council being requested by Balranald to undertake which two roads? Is that just two sections of roads near Mungan?
The main section that they're talking about is a Rumpo Road.
Just their section up there.
It's their section. They've made the request. We've provided the information back. So there's no agreement to that yet. We've provided the information.
Councillor Starrick.
Just a question on the Baronga toilet block. Have you had some resolution there?
The Baronga toilet block is, as of last night, all the sewer pump station, the connections, flow meter, and the telemetry is completed. And I think this morning and around about 2 lunchtime, the final outside water connection was done. So that toilet block is fully complete now, which completes the Baronga pump track playground.
That's sensational. I think with a little bit of landscaping, that will be the most sought after pump track / park in the country. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two. Pooncarie Camp Kitchen to be finished prior to the races on the 20th September. I know that other was a little over. Is that going to happen?
All indications are yes. So that project's already commenced, and the contractors actually are up on site again now and progressing with that facility over the next 3 or 4 weeks.
And the other one's on the same page, and I was a little bit alarmed. The Wentworth Shire water team has reviewed the draft report and associated costings to do with the water treatment plant, the scatter, and further scope to further workshop and refine to match the budget considerations. How much refining is going to be taken in, because I believe these things are essential.
Yeah, there's ongoing discussions there. There was actually another meeting this afternoon with Public Works, and the design is for essentially for you're talking about the Golgo water treatment plant.
Wentworth water treatment plant.
Wentworth. Yeah, so for both facilities, and yeah, so there's a number of workshops probably still to continue with both of those facilities, and hopefully we can provide a more detailed report to the next council meeting with regards
It's
to
not very
costings.
positive to me. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Nichols. Councillor Rodder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just got a question in regards to the Midway entrance upgrade. So it says a request for quotation will be sent out for a new concrete path, but that no path will be installed between the Midway and the supermarket until the adjacent land has been developed. So can you provide a little bit more information on that, please, Director Gunn? It's actually quite difficult to walk on quite a slope. The rationale behind leaving that footpath to the land developed, and what plans are in place to mitigate the difficulty walking on that path if that's to be the case.
Yes, Councillor, the intention is obviously for the formalised path across our council's frontage of Midway. The makeshift path from that point onwards further to the west, we will do some initial shaping works to make that area safer with some minor addition of material to make it an all-weather access. But from my understanding, the upgrade of that section to concrete would be considered as part of the adjoining development when that happens.
So it will be made safer in the interim?
That's correct.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Rodder. Does that have an estimated time frame, Director?
I'm unsure, but I'd have to take that on notice.
Just if I may, I had a meeting with a planning consultant this morning that indicated that we will soon receive a development application for the frontage for commercial businesses along the frontage of the highway, which will include a service road on the development land and including a service road coming out at Midway Drive. So it's all right to lodge an application, but it's imminent. The thoughts are there to have a service road and pathway to link the two.
Good news. Thank you. Councillor Weeding and then Councillor Beaumont.
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment. Shiny new camp kitchen at the Wentworth Showground should be ready for the Wentworth show. That was done in pretty fast time, and I'd like to thank everybody that worked on that.
Thanks, Councillor Weeding. Good news. Councillor Beaumont.
Both a comment and a question, I guess, to Director Gunn. The Darling Street footpath works coming along very nicely. The new footpath is fantastic and very much improved on the old. Just in terms of the abutting lawns or nature strips, have we got works planned to establish?
Yes, we have. Yes.
Okay. And just any idea as to when the whole project might be complete?
Obviously the second stage, which was approved at the previous council meeting, I believe, for the additional works across the road from this building and further down towards the restaurant caravan park area will continue. So prior to the show, we'll continue with the work on the frontage to the courthouse. After the show weekend, the work will be completed in and around the Lock and Weir restaurant, and over the next 4 to 6 week period, we'll see the reinstatement of the areas in between the path and the curbway.
Okay, thank you.
And final acid washing of the final acid washing of the yet to be completed.
So the footpath, will there be a concrete footpath between Lock 10 and Weir and the caravan park, or is that going to remain as crushed dust path?
This project here will only be replacing of the existing concrete and paver path.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. The other one I had, I see with great excitement is the Junction Island viewing platform. Just curious as to what size that might be. Can you give me some sort of verbal picture on how that's going to look?
I can't answer, but I'm happy to take that question on notice and provide you some details. Probably at the earliest tomorrow, I can send something through to you on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Beaumont. Does anybody else have any further questions? Thank you. I'll just mention great rejoicing in Pooncarie that the laundry is working. That's very good to see. And thank you very much to your team for that sort of remediation work around the London plane trees in there. I think with the addition of that irrigation or the agricultural pipe down into the ground should ensure that they're looking lush and beautiful this summer. So thank you very much for that. We'll move that we accept the report. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Move on to item 9.12, a funding request from Spirit of Cricket. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Armstrong.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I would move that Council, having considered the options available regarding sponsorship for the Global Spirit of Cricket Festival, provides sponsorship to the festival to the tune of $7,500. Plus the G.
Plus the G. Plus the fee. Councillor Crisp.
No, if we have a seconder, then I'm going to speak if I can.
Okay, seconded.
Yeah, I'll second.
Councillor Evans, thank you. Would anyone like to speak for the motion? Councillor Crisp.
I'd like to propose an amendment to the motion, and that is that council waive the fee charges for the use of McLeod Oval and Caramar Drive Oval. I'm told that that's around the $800 mark, not a great deal, but I think it's council has in the past offered a great deal of support in lieu and in kind when it comes to these sorts of events with our facilities. I'd like to see us continue to do that.
The amendment has been seconded by Councillor Nichols. So would anyone like to speak for the amendment? Would anyone like to speak?
Just a question, I guess. So I guess Councillor Crisp is suggesting that the fee for the fee hire for those relative complexes be included in as part of the $7,500. Is that
in addition to our $7,500 as part of the sponsorship package we're accepting? We're doing the $7,500 as what I was working on, plus the fee waiver for the facilities.
right? Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the clarification. So it has been seconded. Would anyone like to speak against the amendment? Councillor Webb.
Not speaking against it, just a question. How much of this is played in Victoria and how much is played in New South Wales?
It depends on oval availability, but I think it's safe to say that the majority of matches are played in Victoria. However, we are hosting, I think, three matches in the first week of the tournament. I could have that wrong, Councillor Crisp,
Yeah,
but maybe the ratio is not quite that out.
At some point, I thought that there were more matches to be played at Caramar than it was going to be the main event, and then subsequently John Hall Oval was being used in Mildura and McLeod Oval and the South Mildura Sporting Precinct, as I recall the submission correctly.
I beg your pardon.
So two or three venues each side, but I think Caramar, particularly when they move to the T20 format in the second week, we'll see a significant number of matches played there.
Okay, yeah, so there was originally a request for George Gordon Oval as well, but that's not able to be accommodated due to scheduling for footy finals. So, yeah, sorry, that doesn't directly answer your question, but yeah, this is the, shall we say, the minimum buy-in part of the package. Yep. Okay, Councillor Beaumont.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, would we be asking for an acquittal and some sort of evaluation post the event on, attendance, perhaps night stays, and spend within the Shire?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, because that is now a standard part of our funding letters, and yes, so we do request that.
Probably interesting to note, with another hat on, that a sponsor of the event also present in the room. And Howard is helping out.
Excellent. I'm going to put the amended motion. Those in favour? Those against? Okay, the motion is carried. That becomes the amendment is carried. That becomes the motion. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 9.13, we have a report for noting the integrated transport and land use strategy. Someone like to move? We accept that report. Councillor Armstrong.
Move that we note the report.
Seconded, Councillor Starrick. Thank you. Any level of discussion, or anybody wish to speak for the motion? Councillor Crisp.
So, just although this strategy that we're talking about is mostly about Mildura, there are a number of aspects within that are important to our communities on this side, and in particular the what we call the Monac Bridge option, and for us to continue to develop out of that strategy what's important for our council and our residents is, although we're noting it, I think we need to make clear that there's considerable work to go in this project in in our take out of this integrated land use project from Victoria.
Thanks, Councillor Crisp. Appreciate your comments. I would just say you're quite right. There's more work and assessment to be done, but ultimately, I think it's important for our Shire to play our role in advocating for a strategy that satisfies our broader community, and that we do our part to lobby our respective New South Wales politicians and ministers for a big set piece future infrastructure goal. Anyone wish to speak against? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. We will move to item 10. Notice of motion. Would you like to move your motion? Councillor Starrick has moved, seconded by Councillor Weeding. Would anyone like to speak to the motion? Councillor Starrick.
I put this motion forward with regard to adding a permanent item on the agenda for a status report on previous resolutions. My consideration here is that it's both a communication tool to councillors and to ratepayers as to the status on where resolutions are at that have been passed by council. So it just provides that transparency and that visibility as to where things are at, understanding that at times things can take time to progress. It's helpful to have that reference point to know and to be able to check where things are at within that system, that process.
Thanks, Councillor Starrick. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Any further speakers for the motion? Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think what Councillor Starrick has said is vital, that we do look at these, we go back and we look at these things, because quite often items take a long time and they seem to have a habit of dropping off and not being seen. And I think for transparency, as said, I think it's absolutely essential.
Thanks, Councillor Nichols. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? That is carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to item 11, confidential business. Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adjourns to closed session and the recording of the meeting be paused, that members of the press and public be excluded from the meeting of the closed session, and that access to the correspondence and reports relating to items considered during the course of the closed session be withheld unless classified by a separate motion.
Thank you, Councillor Crisp. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Beaumont. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. I invite the General Manager to please report on the outcomes of closed council business.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Tonight's deliberations during the closed council business had two items on the agenda. The first one being the Baronga landfill expansion project management. It was resolved by council that we approve an extension of $195,000, including GST, in the contract for the Baronga landfill expansion project management tender that was previously awarded to Compton Consulting Proprietary Limited. In relation to the second item this evening, water account reduction request from the properties, council resolved that they authorise the amount of water usage charges of $18,859.18 to be waived based on the previous average usage at that said property. And that concluded tonight's deliberations of the closed council meeting.
Thank you, General Manager, and thank you, councillors, staff and the gallery. That concludes this evening's meeting. Our next meeting is Wednesday evening, the 17th of September. And can I wish the committee and everybody preparing for the Wentworth show all the very best, and make sure you don't miss it.